Tom Aspinall believes the start time for UFC 304 is unfair to the fans. UFC 304 takes place in Manchester, and the start time is 3 a.m.
Well, as an athlete, as a fighter, in all honesty, it doesn't make that much difference. Probably for a couple of weeks before I'll have to wake up and train at that time or stay up or whatever. Like, I've flown across the world multiple times and fought on different time zones, so it's not as bad as that. As a fan who wants to watch it live, I think it is absolutely terrible. I think, yeah, it's just not fair on the fans, not fair on the UK fans. Obviously, predominantly it's an American audience, so I understand that they want to sell to them. But why can't they sell to them in the afternoon, which is our evening time? Why can't the Americans watch it in the afternoon? And the UK fans, the Manchester fans, the European fans can all fly to the event, sell out this new arena. I mean, it's going to sell out regardless, mate. We're very, 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 very lucky to have a pay-per-view event in Manchester. Very lucky. But UK MMA, let's put it on UK time.
Robert Whittaker gives his thoughts on Jiri Prochazka potentially moving down to middleweight.
I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't. I like the guy a lot, but if he enters the middleweight division, then we're enemies.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the game. They're all enemies, except for my teammates, because we wouldn't fight each other, right? I can't see him at 84. I've seen him in real life. I've been up with him, and I've been up close with him, and he's big, dude. And it's not just like he's physical, like he's got a big frame, he's got wide shoulders, he's quite tall. I think he's 6'4". Like, he's a big guy. I think he has the mentality to get to 84 kilos, don't get me wrong. Dude's borderline.
He could probably do it.
Psychiatric, man. Like, if he wants to get to 84, he'll do it. Whether or not it'll be a good move, it's hard to say. But he's still smashing it in light heavy, I think. And he also said he's still got goals there, right? But I don't know.
I think he should stay as well,
so we can stay friends.
Michael Chandler laughs at Daniel Cormier for not knowing what to do with his hands while commentating his fight against Justin Gaethje.
All right, guys, I always start visualization as I'm starting the process with watching highlights of myself, so I can then see it better in my mind and then do all kinds of things with it in my mind. But I want to show you guys, a fight is getting crazy when DC lifts his hands up and he didn't know what he was doing with his hands. He didn't drop them for like who knows how long. Watch this. All right. Here he goes. Look at DC. His hands are in the air. He's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. He's like, what do I do with my hands?
Sean Strickland got ding-dong ditched. He posted this footage to his Instagram. In the caption, he wrote, "It's 1 a.m. and I get a ring alert. Car pulls, you and some guys jump out and go to the side of my house. In the process of covering my white ass, I hear a bang. You guys have a car. It's Friday night. Why aren't you out trying to get pee? Kids these days. All the wrong priorities. Didn't see the doorbell alert till after, just so you all know." Daniel Cormier thinks it's weird that Ilia Topuria allegedly declined fights with Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, and Alexander Volkanovski.
You need the name that comes from the generation before. Ilia seems to be taking another approach. I don't know exactly what it is, though, because he said he wasn't going to fight Brian Ortega. He said he wasn't going to fight Max Holloway, and now it sounds like he's not wanting to fight Alexander Volkanovski again. Those are the names from the featherweight past. He doesn't seem to want to fight those guys. I don't know, when looking at those rankings, who would be next. Now, he's agreed to fight Max Holloway. He said Max Holloway has something very valuable to him. That's a BMF championship. He'll fight Max, but only if Max's BMF title is on the line too. Ilia Topuria is the champ, and as the champ, at times, you have some say into who you're going to fight, when you're going to fight him, when you're ready, and all that. I don't know, though, if he has as much say in this as he thinks he does. It's just weird, right? Like, he's not telling us what's next, but he's saying no to a lot of things that can be right now. And I don't know that you can do that as the champ.
Ilia Topuria is facing backlash today from the MMA community over a recent interview he did. There's 2 clips going around X. First, this clip where Ilia says that Max Holloway needs to put his BMF title on the line if they fight, and if not, he'd rather fight Brian Ortega or Alexander Volkanovski. Here are the top reactions. Bro is calling shots like he's been champ for 10 years. Loved him coming up, but since he's become champ, he's starting to become a bit unlikable, which is sad. Bro acts like he is a more established fighter than the 3 guys behind him. He can't hold Holloway's jockstrap. Cringe. Back in my day, champions didn't get to pick and choose who they defend their title against. Dana White needs to speak up and publicly tell this guy who his next opponent is going to be. Giving off energy on how not to be a BMF. Absolutely insufferable champion. And Bro's acting like he calls the shots. Dana will send him a contract and he will sign it. Unless you actually defend your belt a few times, you don't get a say. Fight Max. He actually deserves it, unlike Ortega. This is the other clip that Ilia is getting backlash for. In this clip, Ilia says that he will be the highest paid athlete in the world in 2025. To read off the top reactions, he has a long way to go. He has reasoned from the McGregor playbook, but he is missing some key steps. For now, he just sounds arrogant. What the hell? This guy comes in and talks like he's the boss now. Oof. Dana will pay him $600K. What are we doing here? This guy is so arrogant. Bro thinks he'll make a couple $100 million in a year? The same guy that doesn't want to fight? And he might want to start doing his job then. ESPN reposted Ilia's quote on Instagram with a photo of Ilia and Ronaldo. As expected, the comments were pretty brutal. How about you sign your first title defense fight first? That's if he doesn't get flatlined by Max Poatan Holloway. Bro is not Conor McGregor. Bro won't even be champ in 2025, and he's just a Conor copycat. I'm tired of him already. Speaking of Ilia Topuria, Ilia responded to the claims that he turned down the rematch against Alexander Volkanovski. Joe Rogan told Max Holloway on his podcast that he heard that Ilia turned it down.
Yeah, I don't know who he wants to fight next, but I mean, I guess he feels like he's a champ, he can call the shots. But I know that he turned down the Perth one, the 305, the Volkanovski rematch.
Ilia posted this on X. He wrote, "I never turned down the rematch with Alex. The UFC has never offered me this fight. As I've said many times before, I will be the first to knock out Holloway. Let's keep this simple. Do you want to fight? If the answer is yes, there's nothing more to discuss. Bring my belt and your pillow." Max Holloway fired back. He wrote, "Bro, you're the one making this hard. Enough already. I'll bring your belt, the bitching motherfucker. All you are doing is putting words together now. You're spiraling." Alexander Volkanovski did an interview on the Main Event YouTube channel. Alex confirms he also was not offered the rematch with Ilia.
So whether that's what Joe Rogan was going off, or he's got inside information, but nothing was ever brought to me as in we want to fight, because I've been talking to UFC and I've made it clear that I want to fight, later in the year and give myself a bit of a break. I know that is later in the year, but maybe that little bit later.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's in reference to Jimmy Smith going off on Ronda Rousey and claiming that Ronda was rude to UFC staff. It's from Nate Marks. It says Ronda's name is right next to the definition of bitterness. The second one's from YouTube Yak1232. It says Volk fought Max 3 times. Ilia leapfrogged Max and beat a recently KO'd Volk, and he won't even give Volk 1 rematch? Pathetic, really. And the final one's from the Joke 2791. It says I made Holly and Amanda look good. Me, I did that. Ronda. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.